You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, I find this rather interesting because you would think Anthony Richardson could use all the repetitions on a football field that he could possibly get. But when I show you these comments from this coach with the Indianapolis Colts, well, it just makes me think he's kind of at the end of the road. At least with the Colts. I don't know what's going to happen with him in the NFL, but the amount of frustration that is in this coach's comments and the fact that he literally said, quote, "I've tried everything I can do." Now, of course, several things have happened here. You had the issue of him tapping out, where we've heard that he lost teammates in that entire situation. They were like, "You got to be kidding me," right? Then you had the situation where, and I said this, and I was right, more and more insiders have come out and said that blindside sack he took in that game where he got knocked out, him not knowing what he was looking at and not knowing what protection to go to and what hot route to have, and then the fact that there was a fallout from that, because we all saw the picture of his finger, but he wasn't able to finish the game, and all these former quarterbacks across social media and the media itself came out and crushed him over it. They said that's a very elementary kind of hot route protection, and that he should have long since known what it, because he said, "I wasn't sure what I was looking at, blah, blah, blah," and people were like, "Are you joking? As you're entering your third year, you did not know what you were looking at." And now, and I'm hearing this more and more now from various insiders I listen to, is that maybe he's not putting the effort in to getting better like we sort of was being led to believe. We know he changed his diet, and I made a video, I gave him credit for that. But there's still issues with putting in the amount of time that Anthony Richardson needs to put in. And these comments, I read this and was like, wow. So we know Anthony Richardson was benched. Daniel Jones now has the job. Dietrich Jackson, his agent, has come out and said that they no longer trust the Colts, essentially. The first thing I would do if I was Anthony Richardson, I'd fire that agent. You don't need him making these kind of comments if you hope to catch on somewhere else or get traded for or whatever. All right? So we know right here the Colts drafted Richardson, and I was really critical of the Colts for doing this, starting only 13 games at University of Florida and seeing fewer than 1,000 snaps. There's no way. I mean, these NFL teams, they've got to quit drafting guys that hadn't started. I mean, God, I'm going to be honest with you. I've said I like at least 30 starts. Now, I understand some guy may be so talented that you're like, I'm going to take a risk at 25. Okay, at least 25 games. But when you're talking about 13, how many did Mitch Trubisky have in college? Maybe 16, 17. Trey Lance had 17 or 18. Over and over, it's been proven. The more games you play in college, the more likely it is you succeed in the NFL. He should have just now been coming out. I've said that. This year should have been the year he was actually drafted. After the Colts named Daniel Jones the starter, Nate Atkins of the Indianapolis Star asked quarterbacks coach Cam Turner whether the Colts failed Richardson. Richardson failed the Colts or if they failed each other. Quote, "I mean, no, as a position coach, you want to see your guy succeed and be successful naturally. Yeah, because you may lose your job over it." So anybody thinking they didn't want Anthony Richardson to work out is just BS. They took him And now, ultimately, that whole group may be gone. By the way, they've been awfully sneaky competitive, though. Weren't they 8-9 last year? That's pretty good considering it was sort of a train wreck. And then the year before that, they just barely missed the playoffs. Colts got some talent on that team. Quote, I feel like I've tried everything I can do. And I feel like he's given great effort in aspect to that, or to in that aspect too. So let me say that again. I mean, no, as a position coach, you want to see your guys succeed and be successful naturally. I feel like I've tried everything I can do. Think about that. That comment right there. I've done everything I can do. That is a comment of a coach that is frustrated and flustered. A guy that's been like, he threw up his, that coach, when it comes to Anthony Richardson, sounds like he threw up his hands. That he's like, I've tried everything I know how to do here. Quote, I don't think either way it's one or the other. I just think right now it's not, the consistency's just not where we want it to be. The Colts expect Richardson to set for the entire season, learning and hopefully growing. General Manager Chris Ballard and Assistant General Manager Ed Dodds made clear this is not a make or break season for Richardson, who is 23. I don't know that I believe that. The plan for him is to continue to develop. He still has a job, a role, a responsibility, which is backup quarterback, and he has a lot to be prepared to do. And then my job is to develop him and continue to grow because he is so young. We don't want to give up on him. We want to keep growing, continuing to learn and develop as a quarterback. He missed a lot of snaps with injuries, off season and in season. You say 3 years, but really it's going into year 3 with a lot of missed reps. I do want to point out the growth he's had at the line and the presence, just taking the next step mentality as far as next level thinking. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. Um I don't know what any team could do at this point. He needs, at this point, he needs a, well, I was going to say he needs a quarterback guru, but Shane Steichen's supposed to be one. And look what he did with Jalen Hurts. I mean, there were people joking about Jalen Hurts being a running back when he was taken. People thought the Eagles were nuts. I don't know if people remember that. There was all kinds of backlash. Philly fans were livid, all of this. And now he's been to 2 Super Bowls and he's won 1. And that development came from Shane Steichen. I don't know. It just feels like they drafted a dude that wasn't nearly ready to be drafted. And I've said, the evaluation committee, these guys come in, these players, when they're in college, they come in and they say, what's my draft status? Where am I going to be taken? Where you want to come out because you're going to be taken high. Well, maybe there ought to be an addendum to that because obviously he was taken number 4 overall. But maybe there should be an addendum to that. We project that you are going to come out, you're going to be taken very high. However, we highly recommend, due to the level of success that quarterbacks end up having, we highly recommend you stay in school at least one more season, which would have been what? I don't know, 11 or 12 more games. Okay, that would have been better. Been better if he'd played 2 more years and gotten up over 30 starts. And just now be coming out. I don't know. And maybe he would have, he might have exposed himself in school and had been like, uh-oh, he's not as good as we thought, which we've seen before. I mean, look how high everybody was. Carson Beck was originally thought to be a top 10 pick. And then he had this last season, and it wasn't what everybody thought. And people said, well, if he comes out now, Carson Beck's going to be a 4th-round pick. Matt Barkley, I remember when he was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick, I think he dropped to the 4th round or 5th round. I can't remember who took, but he was a projected number 1 overall pick at one point, Matt Barkley. Career backup. You just don't know. I mean, part of it you don't know, but now there's starting to be a clear formula with guys staying in school and playing in college and then coming out. And preferably find a coach in college that has some pro-style offense principles in their offense. You know? Tell me what you think. I'm going to tell you, the Colts, they sound like they're done. I think they're done with him. I think he would be playing in the preseason game. They don't want him to get hurt. They want to be able to trade him. That's my opinion. I think they're done. I think he's done. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.